That's good. So last night, I was in a panic because I got some feedback from book 1, The Haunting at Paradise House, from my critique partner, who is also an editor. And she felt that chapter 1 starts off in the wrong way, that chapter 2 should really be where chapter 1 is, and chapter 1 should be moved to the prologue, and the prologue should be moved to chapter 3, so that the readers would get the main character right there in the first chapter. She's right. She is so right. So I had a panic because my book is already published and I'm publishing the second book in the series pretty much right now. Like, it's coming out February 14th and I need the KDP upload by the 10th. So like in 2 days. But so I completely just went spiraling. Like, what am I going to do? If I make this change, I need another ISBN number, because the ISBN number, it's a big change. So if you have a big change in your manuscript, in your novel, once it's already published, then it would be a new edition. So I would need a new ISBN number. That sent me through a rabbit hole. Like, what am I even doing? This is all wrong. You know, if I pull out the book now to make this change, it's like I'll have to do it in a rush because I'm publishing book 2 and book 1 is unpublished. I had to calm myself down because then I started to feel a sense of imposter syndrome. Like, what am I even doing? I can't even do this, you know? And I know that's false because this is a learning curve and I'm a new indie author, and even successful indie authors make mistakes. Authors who have been writing for 20, 30 years still make mistakes. You can still find typos. Even when they've been published by traditional publishers, you can still find typos and you can still find mistakes in their books. And if they find that out, no panic. They unpublish, revise the copy, and republish. That's it. So I needed to remind myself that in business, everything is a learning curve. And it got me thinking about imposter syndrome. And I thought that this would be a good video to do today and talk to you about imposter syndrome, how we all feel it, and the best ways of handling it, and also how to deal with bad reviews. So I'm making this video and I'm going to break it into 2 parts. Part 1 will be on imposter syndrome and part 2 will be how to handle bad reviews. So this video is going to be very informal. I'm sitting down on a couch and I'm drinking some coffee, which is really good, with my new Grimm House mug. So I want you to just relax and grab a coffee or tea if you drink tea, or some water, and just listen to this relaxing video and learn how to take some constructive criticism and to learn to put things into a perspective. Hopefully I can help put things into perspective and you can realize that this is something that we all go through, and it is absolutely normal to feel like we're a complete failure in our writing career, and how that's actually false, and how we can improve our current manuscript, or if even a whole series if you already had it published. But I'll get into that in just a second. First, I'd like to introduce myself if you're just stumbling on this channel. If you follow me on this channel, hello. But otherwise, my name is Killian Wolf, and I am the young adult author of the series Reapers of the Veil. I have 1 book published called The Haunting at Paradise House, and the second book, The Scapegoat Demon, is to be published coming soon, February 14th, just a few days away. I make videos on marketing trends that are current in the indie author business, and I explore all avenues, including craft on writing. This is a brand new channel though, so just bear with me, and I do upload a video every Wednesday. So on to imposter syndrome. This is something that happens to not only writers, anyone in the creative industry. Even if you're a singer who is trying to make it big now in 2020 without an agent, and you're constantly practicing on your music, and if you play an instrument, and you're constantly practicing, and then you get yourself on Spotify, or you upload your videos onto YouTube, and you create a Patreon account. Sounds familiar? We writers, we do the same thing. If you're an artist and you're constantly painting and you're trying to get yourself out there, this is the digital age where we can express ourselves in any talent and reach an audience. The only struggle is how to reach that market. How do we reach our listeners, our readers, our viewers? And it's breaking out of your shell in order to do that, in order to meet your target audience who love your stuff. And it can be really daunting because we see all of these writers out there. Everyone's trying to be an author, or not trying to be an author. If you publish, you're an author, but it's like you see it as a way of you're competing, and that's false. That's false. I'm not competing with other young adult authors. No, because I want my product to look just as good as the top sellers on Amazon or in bookstores. And if you're an artist, you have your own style, and you're gonna stick out and attract those people who look at your work and say, wow, that is gorgeous. I want that. Or I want to learn how to paint like you. And maybe that's something else that, if you're watching this video and you're an artist, something else you can do. And if you're a singer, it's like you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to stop listening to Lady Gaga and only listen to you. No, we listen to everything that we like. We read everything that we like. And, we can collect all sorts of artwork. We're not in competition with each other. So this whole feeling, this whole sense of imposter syndrome, in the way that I'm never gonna make it because there are so many other writers out there who are so much better than me, that's false. That is a false sense of fear. And I'm going to say this acronym. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't. I'm not sure who ever created it, but the first time I ever heard it, I was 10 years old in a local store in the Keys of an artist who I'm still friends with, Kelly Hofstetter. And he said, fear is nothing but false evidence appearing real. And it resonated with me for my entire life. That I'm making this video and I'm saying it now. It's fear of the unknown. How can we fear it? We don't know what's on the other side. So we can't put a wall or a barrier. We shouldn't put a wall or a barrier, because we do, in front of us, called fear. The best thing to do when you feel like you have too many people to compete with, or you're never going to be as good as anyone else, is work on your craft. And I want to talk about some of these things that we can do in order to make us feel better about our product. And as indie authors, that's what we need to consider our stories and our books that we write. We need to put on our business hats and say, as an indie author, I run a business. I own my own publishing company, Grimm House Publishing. You know, you may own your own publishing company. Therefore, I am not just the artist. I'm not just the writer. I am also the marketer, the research marketer, the social media connector words today, but you get the idea. We wear many hats. We're publishing, we're working on deadlines, we're working on the next book in the series, we're planning the next series. I mean, I have like a poster board over there with my next series, and I'm writing book 4 of this series. I'm not even out of this series, and I'm already like stressed out about my next series. Okay, so it's like, sometimes you feel bogged down, like I don't have time to be posting on social media every day. And I gave myself a break because yesterday, since I was in a panic, I didn't post on Instagram. I don't think anybody noticed. If anybody did notice, I don't think they're gonna hit unfollow just because I didn't post one day. So sometimes you have to like just give yourself a break and get back into your body and realize, okay, this is only imposter syndrome. I need to chill out. I know that for me, sometimes I'll get an idea and I won't sleep that night brainstorming because I'm so excited about this new idea and I feel like this is amazing and I can't wait to get it on paper. I just need to get the story out on paper and I'll spend like an entire week totally marveled in this brand new idea. And then maybe halfway through, I feel like this plot isn't working. And now the imposter syndrome starts. And it starts talking to me. You know, and it starts like, you know what, this probably wasn't even that great of an idea. This sounds stupid. You know, and then I'll calm myself down and I'll get through the draft because that's just what I do. That's who I am. And I'll send it off to my editor. And then when I get it back from my editor, there's like, and of course, I'm not sending the first draft. I just want to make that clear. This is like draft, whatever, beta readers and then editor. And still, I get it back and then I'll get like all of these comments throughout the manuscript that's like, this doesn't make any sense. This is confusing. What do you mean here? And it's like, oh, I just spent so many weeks working on this. I thought I took care of all of the plot holes and now I'm spiraling down again. But that's fine. That's what writing is. And then I make it better and then I send it back and it's a little bit better. And I'm sure this happens to you too. We get this sense of imposter syndrome. So I'm not just saying that it just happens, it's normal, get over it. No, I'm trying to make the point that it happens very often. And that can become stressful. And what's worse is when you've already published the book and about to publish the second one and you see a major flaw in the first book or somebody brings it to your attention like it just happened to me and it's like, here we go again. So I want to talk about how to handle this because it happens to us at all levels. So one of the ways that I'm handling it right now is I'm taking this Saturday just to record the video. And I'm going to go for a walk, go to a coffee shop, do something different. I'm not even going to work on my 4th book or work on the edits for my 3rd book. I'm going to do something completely different. And then tonight, I will unpublish that first book, make the changes, assign it a new ISBN, and then republish. And in 2 days, it'll be on the market again, just in time for book 2. And that's it. And I feel better. I will feel better because that means that I have a brand new edition, yeah. But it's a better edition. And now I feel a little bit better about my product. And that's really important. Because I cannot go on with marketing when I have something in the back of my head saying that book 1 isn't as good as it should be, especially when I know how to fix it. So that's something that, you know, that it's something that we want to learn how to do and how to be constructive with our imposter syndrome or our stress. It's not just, you know, this is not a video of like, just be positive, because let me tell you how much I hate that. If I'm feeling depressed or upset or, imposter syndrome, I must have said this like a million times already today. And then somebody just comes by and it's just like, just smile, be positive. It's okay. You have to have a positive attitude and the universe will listen and everything will fall into place. Okay, as much as that may be true, depending on your beliefs, it doesn't help. Because it's not like I'm just going to turn around and be like, you're right, I feel great again, and just turn around and go on with my day like nothing, like nothing was bogging me down before. No. This is more of a video of how to make this constructive. Okay? And what you can do if you feel like your marketing efforts are a waste, or if you have in the back of your mind that your product isn't really that good. There's so many reasons on why you can feel that way. So let's start with, I've done everything about marketing. I have AMS ads. I'm spending too much money on Facebook and I'm not getting enough clicks. I'm not making enough sales. Okay. If you've really felt like you've done everything in marketing, pause those ads or end them and take a bird's eye view and look at your product. Check out your cover. Have you published this book in 2 to 5 years ago? Have you done any marketing research? Have you compared the covers in your genre now today with your cover of your book or series? How different are they? Do you think that your cover is top-notch amazing, or is it time for new covers? That could be it. Because if people aren't clicking on your book, then maybe your target audience, it isn't attracting your target audience, and you need to do something about that. The next is the hook and the blurb. If you're not great at copywriting and writing a great hook and a great blurb, then maybe it's time to talk to some editors who are good at it. Join some groups like the Indie Author Mindset or Author Unleashed, okay, or Brian Meek's AMS ad beta group. These are people who can help you. Write your hook and your blurb on those groups and see what kind of feedback they give you. Try to improve it. I know that Brian Meeks charges like $120 to write one for you if you want to go that route. I personally feel like if this is your business, you should learn how to write really good hooks and blurbs. It's not something that I'm awesome at, but it's something that I am trying to improve my craft on. Adam Croft, and I'll leave the link down below on the course that you can take. Adam Croft offers a course on writing killer hooks and blurbs. And I took it and it improved my blurb writing skills exponentially. So taking a course is something else you can do. That's hooks and blurbs, but maybe you want to buy a new book on your craft if you feel like your characters, if you're going on and in the back of your mind you're thinking that, maybe your character isn't believable enough, then take out your book, unpublish it, and let's try to attack that. Maybe you need to have a talk with your editor and voice your concerns. See what they say. Maybe your editors will say, do you want me to take another look at it? If this is the perspective that you have on your character and your concerns, as an editor, let me take a look at it. See, maybe you're just driving yourself mad with doubt. Or, yeah, I can see your point. Let's work on that. Is that something you've considered? Maybe your editor will tell you, I think I'm too close to this. Why don't you hire another developmental editor just to get another perspective? And that's something you have to do for the time being. Have 2 editors just for that series. Work with a different editor on that series. Whatever you decide to do, when you put the book back together or the series back together, you're going to feel better about your product. The same goes with marketing. Have you taken Mark Dawson's course, for example? Have you read Brian Meek's book? Have you joined his group? Have you explored all of the avenues that you need to be a successful indie author? Because it is not just accepting imposter syndrome happens and that we often have to deal with that sense of dread, because it's probably something that's going to constantly recur, because that is normal. But it's what we do during that time can be either productive or just a waste of time in self-pity and wallow until the next idea comes and the next wave of happiness comes where we write, and then that happens again, and it's a vicious cycle. But if we can be productive and actually do something about it that will make us feel better, that's my best advice on how to tackle it. Always look at your product, your books, your industry as business. That's also another reason why I like pen names, because I like to be able to distance myself as Killian Wolf and say, okay, the product isn't with me. The problem, isn't with me. The problem is with my business self. So then I have to attack it as I would anything else. If it needs a redraft, give it a redraft, just for example. So the beautiful thing about being an indie author is that we have the ability to learn from really great editors that we hire to make our books, our products better every time. It doesn't feel that way sometimes, because sometimes we just get so caught up in like the next manuscript and all of these mistakes that we need to fix and yada yada yada, that we don't realize sometimes how much we are learning and growing as human beings and as writers, and how we're just learning how to hone and master our craft. So imposter syndrome, it's like fear. That's false evidence appearing real, and you just gotta learn to brush it off and keep moving and find your mistakes. Why am I feeling this imposter syndrome? Pinpoint what is bugging you and view it from the bird's eye view, from an outside perspective. Get some help too. Ask them, what do you think about this? And then just attack that issue as you would in any business. How would you improve it? So that way you're not internalizing the problem as you're a failure. You're looking at the problem as, okay, the problem isn't with me, it's with this product. So now I'm going to make a list on what I think is wrong with this product, and I can go one by one and see how I can improve it, so that next time when I push it out to the world, I feel that much better about my product. And communicate with your readers, with your mailing list. Sometimes ask them, it's like, what do you think about this character? Or what do you think about the cover? Does it still attract you? What do you think about this new cover? And get a perspective from the readers, because sometimes a little bit of validation from the people who are buying your product will give you the motivation to keep going into the right direction with your books. So that's my advice for dealing with imposter syndrome. Now on to part 2. I want to talk about how to handle negative reviews, bad reviews on your books. So with The Haunting at Paradise House, I put my book through a blog tour. I hired a blog tour host, and I had 30 readers or bloggers write reviews about The Haunting at Paradise House. 28 of those reviews were 4 to 5 stars. I had some really lovely blogs to read. It felt really good. 28 is a big number out of 30. One blogger fell off the map and they didn't review, they didn't read the book, or maybe they read it and didn't like it, so they didn't leave a review. That happens, and that's totally fine. That's something else that we need to realize as writers, is that not everyone who reads our stuff are going to like it. And that's okay. Everyone is entitled to their opinion and their likes or dislikes, and you never know. It's okay. I certainly don't like everything that I read. I respect the writers, who write scenes that I don't really like, because it's their perspective and it's a character, and sometimes you can't take it so personal. However, there's one, or not however, because still what I said, I still respect this blogger. They gave me my first 2-star review. And my editor said, "Congratulations, you are now officially a writer. You got your first bad review." And I tried to just brush it off, switching positions here. I tried to just brush it off like, that's one person out of 29, who didn't like it. And that's okay. That's fine, But it still stayed in the back of my mind. And I mean, that's normal. I'm human, of course. Somebody didn't like my book and they wrote about it and posted it to the internet. And then I started to analyze, why didn't they like it? And I went down, I went through the list of the things that they mentioned in their blog. And one of the things that they mentioned was a little nitpicky, but at first I kind of shrugged it off like, that's a dumb remark. But then I decided to listen to this constructive criticism. I decided to take it as constructive criticism. And what they had said was, there is an argument over the word shined versus shown. That in the US, we use the term shined when we're talking about the sun shined. And I actually never used the word shone. I'm from Miami, and we don't really say things like the sun shone. That's not really in my vocabulary, is what I'm trying to say. So that's definitely a word that came from my editor. And a lot of things can completely go, off the radar from off of a writer's radar that come from the editor, because one, I am trusting my editor to edit my book grammatically correct, and because she's the professional at this, I'm not. So while I'm trusting that, and I'm not at all putting the blame on my editor, I want to mention, I'm just saying that this is something that it completely went off. I never noticed that the word shown was there. Apparently, I mentioned it several times in the book. I went back to look at my first draft, and I definitely don't use the word shown. So she changed it, but she's also correct. That is the grammatically correct use of the word shine. However, this blogger decided that I could have avoided that argument, and I didn't even know that there was an argument. I mean, yes, she's being really nitpicky, but I decided, you know what? It's not because this one person doesn't like it, but it's more that she's right in the... Sorry about that. My phone stopped recording. Okay, so anyways, what I was saying was, I decided to take that piece of her terrible review and use it as constructive criticism so that I can improve and change this new edition that I'm about to put out to the world again. So that's something that you can do with negative reviews, is maybe not feel terrible about it and just toss it out and say they're wrong. but take the constructive criticism parts and actually apply it to your writing. If you agree that they are correct, if they are being silly, then no. Okay, because something that she did mention was she wanted me to, and I don't want to give any spoilers, but she wanted me to have the prologue be about my main character's life when she was a child, and to explore the magic that she had growing up and practicing. Well, I threw that advice out the window because that would literally give away the plot that is supposed to be a surprise halfway through the book or ending of the book. So that, no, that makes absolutely no sense for me to do that. That you're basically telling the readers the ending of, no. So that's silly, and I'm not going to take that into constructive criticism because there she's wrong. What else was it? Here's one. She said that the competition in the young adult market is so high that Killian Wolfe will never make it as a writer in this industry. Well, we don't know the future, but that was a mean thing to say in a review. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about was how do we deal with these kinds of negative reviews? Because we all get them. And again, bringing up fear from when I was talking about imposter syndrome, that is just false evidence. And by her saying that in a blog, that's like trying to make it appear real. And it is false because, as I said before, we are not in competition with each other. And 28 other bloggers did like my book, and other people have liked it. So that gives a glimpse of what I can do and what I can accomplish in the next books to come. And she's saying these things as if they are fact. And in writing, it's never fact, because unless I die before finishing my series, I can always rewrite it and always republish it in a way that I feel I'm writing to market. Okay, if I want to write to market, because I am a true believer in write what you love and then figure out how to. I'm running out of space in my phone. How to start over. Okay, so I'm a true believer in write what you love and then learn how to market it. So I'm going to wrap this video up because it's getting too long and leave you with a few bad reviews on really great writers in history. And I'm going to start with J.K. Rowling because she's the most recent. So here we go. Harry Potter doesn't cast a spell over me. Guess who wrote that? The Guardian, June 2000. Really? Not Quite Narnia, the Harry Potter books in review, December 1999, Catholic Education Resource Center. Not Quite Narnia. First of all, then don't read it. Why are all of these Catholic or Christian centers comparing books about magic to Narnia? It's just because there was magic involved doesn't mean that you should be expecting a Narnia type book. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, now that I've taken care of the technical issues, here is one for one of my favorite authors of all time, Ernest Hemingway. This is a review of his book, For Whom the Bell Tolls, by the New Republic in 1940. Let's see what they say. A master of the concentrated short story, Hemingway is less sure in his grasp of the form of the elaborated novel. The shape of For Whom the Bell Tolls is sometimes slack and sometimes bulging. It is certainly quite a little too long. Okay, well, yeah, his For Whom the Bell Tolls book is pretty long, yeah, but, I mean, if you can't focus on that kind of a book, then it's just not for you. But it's a very good book, okay? It's freaking Ernest Hemingway's. Here's one for Charles Dickens. He got a review. He has never played any significant part in any moment more significant than that of a fly on a wheel. I don't even know who wrote that review. Anthony Trouble. Oh, I don't know. So here's another one for Charles Dickens from the Saturday Review in 1857. A vain, silly, transparent coxcomb without either solid talents or a solid nature. I don't know about you, but I love Charles Dickens, so this one's interesting. This one is a review for the book The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by the Charleston City Paper. Okay. How a human being could have attempted such a book as the present without committing suicide before he had finished a dozen chapters is a mystery. It is a compound of vulgar depravity and unnatural horrors. Well, you know what? I must say that a review like that would make me want to read the book. I actually never read the book, A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. The movie was good. Wow. Yeah, that's one of those reviews that will make a writer feel like, shit, what the hell? But you know what? Whatever. It was still a phenomenal book. Or, you know, as people say. And I leave you with one for Margaret Atwood. This review is by the New York Times in 1986. The writing of The Handmaid's Tale is undistinguished. This is a serious defect, unpardonable maybe, for the genre. A future that has no language, invented for its lack of personality. For Margaret Atwood, everybody. whose book has made a powerful comeback and everyone loves. That is, there you go. There you go. Everyone gets bad reviews. Every writer gets bad reviews, okay? Being a writer is like, you know, there's always somebody on the internet talking shit about you. So we have to learn how to turn these criticisms into either constructive criticisms, or if they're stupid like those, just toss them out, man. Like, don't even look at the reviews. Don't even look at your Amazon reviews, because everybody has an opinion. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they suck. But that is not a criticism on you as a person. If they just don't like the book, they just don't like the book. But I mean, look at J.K. Rowling. She made so much, and kids are still enjoying her book. You know, the new generation of kids, of middle grade readers, are still loving Harry Potter. So just don't worry about it. And learn to look at your product and your business in a bird's eye view and attack it constructively. And you'll be all right. That's it for this video. I hope I helped, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, remember to like and subscribe and ring that little bell so that you can get an alert every time I have a new video. Next week, I'm actually going to be speaking to someone. Her name is Monique Christine, and she is a professional wellness coach. I would like to speak about how we can be healthy writers, because we spend a lot of time sometimes on that chair writing, worrying, stressing, eating, drinking way too much coffee. And what we need to do is be productive and create a much better schedule. So I'm going to be talking to her, and it's going to be great. It's going to be fun, and she's going to give us some great tips. I'll see you guys in the next video.